Hi, my name is Jacqueline, and I'm a marketing assistant at the Career Center. Thank you so much for being with us today. And if you could just give us a little introduction of yourself and your company.
Hi, Jacqueline. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Braxton. I'm a talent partner for campus at Soti.
Thank you. So we'll just get started with the first
Sure.
question. You probably interacted with many students here today at the Get Hired Fair, and people always recommend being personable when you're going around to networking events instead of selling yourselves to employers. So, what advice do you have for students to really be themselves and be their most authentic selves while networking at an event like this?
I think it's very important to be personable at events like this because you want to try and stand out. What we've noticed is that a lot of students come in prepared with an elevator pitch that seems a little bit too rigid, right? You want to have a few questions, answers to a couple of questions at the back of your head, so that you can pivot. If in case you create an elevator pitch and you do seem a little too rigid, and if you get thrown a question your way that you don't have an answer to, you tend to shut down. So it's very important to be personable, have a couple of questions, answers to a few questions at the back of your head, and be ready to adapt and pivot to any question that you might get asked at any time.
Just to help with the flow of things. And
Yes.
yeah, that's great. So, when you are interacting with students, what makes you think I would refer this person for a role?
A couple of things that I personally look for when if I would decide to refer someone. I think the first thing that's the most important to me is communication. You should be able to present your thoughts in a very effective way, and you should be also able to have the communication skills to speak to anyone, irrespective of role and title, whether it's a manager to a senior director. Another thing that I really love is curiosity and initiative. You're a student. If you're looking for your next role, your main goal is to learn as much as you possibly can and get as much as you possibly can out of your internship. And curiosity and initiative goes a very long way in actually helping make a successful internship. And finally, it would be innovation and passion for tech. With everything that's been going on, especially with AI, you want to be up to date with all things that are happening, especially in the realm of artificial intelligence. I mean, being a tech company ourselves, we look for students that are passionate for technology, that are going out of their way to learn everything new that's happening in the realm of computer science, technology, and AI. So those are some things that we look for.
Thank you. And this next question is regards to when I guess you're interviewing potential candidates
Yeah.
for a role. What are any red or green flags that you notice within the first couple of minutes when interacting?
The biggest red flag that I noticed in the first few minutes, I think this is something that you can notice instantly, is when students aren't prepared for the interviews. There's no structure to whatever it is that they are explaining. They don't do their research on the company that they're interviewing for or the person that they're speaking to. That's the biggest red flag, in my opinion. The biggest green flag that I love about students is that when they make eye contact. So body language to me is something that's very important, irrespective of the call is virtual or if you're meeting the team in person. Body language plays a very important role, and eye contact goes a very long way. And making sure that the conversation is not just one sided; it's two sided. Engaging in conversation with the other person, learning their career trajectory, asking questions about themselves rather than answering questions that the interviewer asks you for. So I think that's the biggest green flag I look for, is body language and making sure that the conversation's engaging.
Thank you. And for this next question about securing job offers. So, what do you think is more important for students to prioritize? Getting a big network or cold applying to jobs?
There's that saying, your network is your net worth. I think that answers my question. So your network definitely goes a very long way into helping you find your next role, especially a new grad opportunity. That does not mean that you shouldn't be cold applying to jobs and just focusing only on networking. But your network can go a very long way in helping you push your application a little more forward and getting a referral, and just making sure your application gets seen by the right person.
Thank you. And for our last question, for your own career journey, what were some things that you realized that you liked or didn't like when you were trying to figure out your career path? And what advice do you have for students in first or second year that are navigating that right now?
Students in their first and second year, I think that's the time where where most of them are trying to figure out what it is that they want to do with their lives, right? And the best way to know what you're passionate about is just being open to a lot of different activities, or open to a lot of different experiences. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. The biggest thing that you should be looking for is to find a company or find an employer that will allow you to experience multiple different roles, multiple, and allow you to dip your toes into multiple different things so that you do find your passion. And once you do find your passion, it's very crucial that you build upon that, right? Be open to, multiple different opportunities as well within co-op or outside of co-op. Just because you studied computer science, just because you studied engineering, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to end up in a role that's in an engineering role, right? Maybe that's something that you're not passionate about, and and that's something that you can find your passions through clubs, through activities, and everything that happens outside of the classroom. No worries. Thank you so much for having me, Jacqueline. Have a lovely day.